Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 kill team review, where I am going over the Chaos Cult kill team from the Ashes of Faith box. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of this kill team review. Did you like it or not? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, as well as a Patreon if you want to give me some more support, and a fill-in and get Element Games if you can actually buy this kill team. But yeah, so this is the kill team found in the Ashes of Faith box set. So I'll be going over that because it's a narrative box with actually some competitive rules, and this has been provided by Games Workshop for free. Those thanks goes to them. But let's get into this chaos review. So for the roster, you're locked into infiltration or seek and destroy, which is what Blooded should have been. But for the Chaos Cult kill team, you get 1 Cult Demagogue, 2 Blessed Blades, an Iron Arc, a Mind Witch, and then 10 Chaos Devotees. So you are a 15 operative kill team, which is super large, but there's more than meets the eye, as my friend Optimus Prime used to say. For Tac Ops, you've got Tear Through, which is faction Tac Op 1. Reveal this at the end of the battle. If you have any friendly Torment operatives within white of your opponent's drop zone, you score 1 VP. If you have a different Torment operative within white of your opponent's drop zone, you score another VP. So it's actually pretty good, like quite strong, especially if you can survive till the end of the game. But it's a bit of a gamble, but it's very doable. Then you've got Profane Defilement. You can reveal this Tac Op during any turning point after the first. If a friendly Cult Demagogue, Iron Arc, or Mind Witch operative starts and ends the turning point within blue of the center of the kill zone, you score 1 victory point. If you achieve the first condition in any other turning point, you score 1. And this is probably the best one. As I said, you've got 3 different operatives who can score this. You do have to be within blue of the center at the start of the turning point, but that's very easy to do. And you've got 3 different operatives who can score it. You don't need to control it, you just need to be within blue. So pretty much an auto score. And I think I'd probably always take Profane Defilement, especially as you want to be moving forward. It's just really good. Then you've got Blood Offering. You can reveal this Tac Op in any turning point. For each objective marker, the first time an enemy operative is incapacitated within white of it, place a Blood Offering token on the objective marker. If any friendly operatives perform the Blood Prayer action, you score a victory point. If any friendly operatives perform the Blood Prayer action or at a different objective marker, you score 1 VP. So you can perform the following mission action for 1 AP. An operative can perform this while it controls an objective marker. There's a Blood token offering token on it. If the operative is a Cult Demagogue, it can instead perform this while within red. An operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range. So it's not bad, it's just, you really don't want to do this because you've, like, Tear Through is just much better, but Profane Defilement is just better overall. Now we come to the abilities, and this is the long one. So, below you'll find the common abilities. So you've got Mutation. So it isn't written as once per turning point, but it's supposed to be once per turning point. So during the battle, friendly Chaos Cult operatives can mutate. Each time they do, choose one of the following. If it's a Devotee operative, you can turn it into a mutant. If it's a mutant, it can turn into a Torment, or it can regain D3 plus 1 wounds. So turning point 1, you can mutate 1 operative. Turning point 2, you can mutate 2, and so on. An operative cannot mutate more than once per turning point. In addition, you can never have more than 5 mutants and 3 torments, so you've already got some restriction built in there. When an operative mutates, it's still the same Devotee operative on your roster data slate, and it has the same battle honors and stuff. And when you mutate, you can mutate as follows. So in the strategic phase, instead of playing a ploy or pass, you can mutate a number of operatives. This should be once per turning point. You know, it's not unlimited. And then at the end of combat, if a friendly Devotee inflicted damage and was not incapacitated, it just mutates. And when a friendly leader effectively performs the Accursed Benediction action. When you mutate, you swap the model as close as it can be to the other model. Any wounds it's lost are regenerated immediately. So if it's on 1 wound, it goes to full health. And if it would push it into an engagement range, you're in engagement range. So you have some way to teleport. Then you've got the Accursed Gift. So you've got 6 different gifts. So you've got Winged, which lets you ignore any and all modifiers to movement characteristic, and you ignore the first white when you climb, drop, or traverse. Fleet, which gives you plus black move. Continuous, which gives you a +1 save. Horned, which makes you do 1 mortal wound when you charge. D3 mortal wounds if you're a Torment. Sinewed, where you can ignore any modifiers to your weapon skill characteristic for your melee weapons, and you gain Brutal. And then Barbed, you gain the Reap 1 or Reap 2 if you're Torment. So when you mutate into your first mutant, you pick one of those traits, and all your mutants get that trait. So generally you're picking Winged. Then when you mutate into a Torment, you pick a second trait, and all your torments get the first trait and the second. So what you're generally going to do is probably do winged or fleet, and then either winged or fleet. But generally what I do is I put winged on everyone, and then when I get my torment, if I'm against elites, I'll go with horned. So when I charge into an elite, I do D3 mortal wounds, or fleet for the extra move. Really, really good. And I like that it's just you pick effectively 2 traits, and that's what you get for the game, because otherwise it would have been painful to track. But this is really nice. For your ploys, starting with the strategic ploys, you've got Exaltation in Pain. Friendly Chaos Cult operatives are not injured, and each time a shooting attack is made against an operative that has less than its starting number of wounds, you can reroll one of your defense dice. So really good, mainly for ignoring injuries. Then you've got Fervent Onslaught. Until the end of the turning point, each time you fight in combat, before rolling your dice, you can retain one as a successful normal hit without rolling it, which is really, really good. Then you've got Creatures of Nightmare. Until the end of the turning point, when determining control of the objective marker that a friendly mutant or torments are within white of, you treat your enemy operative's total APL as being 1 less. So it's like a negative banner, which is really good. And then you've got Sickening Aura. While an operative is within white of a friendly mutant or dark commune or torment, worsen their ballistic skill and weapon skill characteristic by 1. And this is not cumulative with being injured. So it kind of gets around operatives saying they can't be injured. But Sickening Aura is amazing. But you have a lot of ploys you want to play. Then you've got your tactical ploys, a Faithful Follower. Use this when a cult demagogue, Iron Arc, or Mind Witch operative is selected as the target of a shooting attack. Select one friendly cultist, excluding one of the aforementioned operatives, that is visible and within white of that friendly operative. You resolve the shooting attack against that friendly operative instead. So you can do it on like the guys with the power weapons or your normal cultists. So it's another way to keep you alive. So then you've got Abhorrent Mutation. So use this when a friendly Chaos Cult operative, excluding a Dark Commune, is activated. Select an accursed and a gift for that operative to have. This is in addition to any accursed gifts it already has. So you can give a Torment a 3rd trait if you wanted, but you're generally not doing this. Then you've got Frenzy Demise. Use this when a mutant or torment is incapacitated. Inflict D3 wounds if the mutant was killed, or torment on, or D6 if it's a torment, on one enemy operative visible and within white of that friendly operative. So you don't have to be in combat, you just have to be within white, but it's a nice way to do some chip damage. Then you've got Unleash the Demon. So you use this during an activation of a friendly mutant or torment. It can perform a free fight action, and it can perform 2 fight actions. So you can use one to double fight. And this is really good. Put this on a torment. It's crazy. Really, really good. So a nice selection of ploys there. For your operatives, we've got the Cult Demagogue. So she has 8 wounds and a 5-up save with 2 APL and movement free, white. She has a pistol, which is okay, and a Diabolical Stave, which is a range attack, which is 4 dice hit on 4s, 3/6 with range, white with stun. And then a melee profile, which is 4 attacks hit on 4s, 3/6 with stun. The main reason you take her is, well, the main reason she's great is because of her actions. So she's got a Cursed Benediction. Select one friendly Chaos Cult operative within visible and within red of this operative, and it can mutate. This operative cannot perform well in engagement range. So remember, you can only use it on the normal cultist, but it's an extra mutation, right? So really, really good. And remember, you can't use it on someone who's mutated. So if someone's mutated into a mutant, you can't then mutate them into a torment. Then you've got Induced Slaughter. Select one friendly Chaos Cult operative visible and within red. It can immediately perform a free fight action. And then you've got Insight Urgency. So you select one friendly Chaos Cult operative within red, and they can either do a free dash or charge action, but the charge action, they can only move blue, and you cannot perform these actions while in engagement range. So obviously a Cursed Benediction is amazing, but when she's in position, like turning point 2 and 3, you can use Induced Slaughter to have a Torment potentially fight 3 times, or like activate someone to charge and then double fight and charge again. Like she's really flexible. The only downside is she's 2 APL, so once she's in position, just passing out these buffs, you need to keep her safe so she doesn't get overwhelmed. But really, really good operative, like really key. Then you've got your Blessed Blade, so you get 2 of these. They have 8 wounds and a 5-up save. They have the Commune Blade, which is 4 attacks hit on 4s, 4/6 with lethal 5-up. Cut them down, so each time an enemy operative starts a full back action within engagement range, you can use this ability. If you do, they suffer D3 + 1 mortal wounds before they move, which is nice. Then you've got a Tuned In Purpose. Each time this operative is activated, you can also select another ready friendly Blessed Blade within red, and they can group activate together. So you get some nice ways to cut down your activation. It's really, really good. And the weird thing about these guys is they walk around more as roving support. The key way you use these guys is to charge in with support, so they're hitting on freeze, but it's really nice. These guys are really useful. So then you've got your Iron Arc, who has 8 wounds and a 5-up save. It has a Burning Sensor, which is 6 dice hitting on 2s, 2 free with torrent range red, then a pistol, but then crude melee weapons, which are 3 attacks, hit on force 2/3. So it's Icon Bearer, so it gets +1 APL for controlling objectives, and Ruinous Deterioration. So each time an attack dice would inflict damage on an enemy operative within 2 white of this operative, add 1 to the damage inflicted from that dice. So you basically boost the damage of guys while nearby. And then you've got Ruinous Invigoration. Each time an attack dice would inflict damage on a friendly operative within 2 white of this operative, you subtract 1 to a minimum of 2. I'm fine with this because these guys generally have 7 wounds, but the banner's really good. So you stack this with Faction Tac Ops 2, you walk up into the middle of the board, plonk this guy down, and then you just buffs your whole kill team. So if someone's trying to get near him, they're -1 damage and you're doing +1. And you can just hunker around, so it's really hard to deal with. Really good. Now you've got your Mind Witch, which has 8 wounds and a 5-up save. Has Fist, which is 3 attacks, hit on 5s, 1/2 damage. But the main reason you take this, well, is Psychic Powers. So you've got Heinous Deluge, which is a psychic action for 1 AP. Select 1 enemy operative in this operative's line of sight, and you subtract 1 APL from them. You cannot perform this while in engagement range. So once again, they have to be in your line of sight. So if they're concealed behind cover, they can't. But if they're obscured, you can't, but if they're in an engage order behind cover in the open, you can. Then you've got Malefic Vortex, psychic action. Remove your Malefic Vortex token, if any, then place a Malefic Vortex token in a location that is visible to this operative or an vantage point of a terrain feature that is visible to this operative. Each enemy operative within white of that token suffers 1 mortal wound. In addition, at the end of each turning point, each enemy operative within white of that token suffers 1 mortal wound. You cannot perform this while in engagement range. So you kind of want to do this turning point 1 because it will just stay there and it only moves when you move it. So it will always happen. So you just hunker it down on a vantage point. But I like using this turning point 1 on operatives that have activated because it just stays there, especially if it's on an objective. So really good. Then you've got Infernal Gaze, which is a psychic action. You select an enemy operative within red and line of sight. That enemy operative suffers a number of mortal wounds as shown below. So if they're within red, they suffer 3 mortal wounds. If they're within 2, they take D3 plus 3. And if they're within white, they suffer D3 plus 5. So if they're within 6 inches, 4 inches, or 2, it gets more mortal wounds. And you cannot perform this while having a concealed order. But it's really, really good because you literally just walk up to anyone who gets too close, like especially a Marine, and you're doing on average 7 mortal wounds to a Marine. But anyone with 7 wounds just dies if they get too close. Really, really good operative. Then you have your Chaos Devotees. So you have 10 of these. They have 7 wounds and a 5-up save. They have pistols, which are hitting on 4s with 4 attacks, 2/3, and then crude melee weapons where hitting on 4s with 2/3. They are pretty rubbish, but you take them because they're GA2. But because they have 4 attacks, they're really likely to survive and mutate. So what you do is you charge and pass, and then charge in hitting on 3s. And generally, you want to hit once and then parry out to survive, and then you mutate. So really good for mutating these guys. So then you've got your Chaos Mutant. So you've got 7 wounds with a 5-up save. And it's got Blasphemous Appendages. They're GA1. 4 attacks hitting on 4s, 3/4 with Relentless and Rending, which is not bad. They've got Accursed Mutant. So each time they perform a mission or pick up action, you must spend an extra AP to do so. And then Unnatural Regeneration. So instead of when you would lose a wound, you have a 5-up DPR. So my only problem with this is this should be a 6-up because it's really easy to become a mutant. And there are so many of them. And they actually pump out a lot of damage. I think if it was a 6-up DPR, it would be fine. At 5-up at the moment, it's kind of too strong. But I expect this will probably happen in a future balanced data slate. But otherwise, it's a really good operative. It's not GA2, but because you mutate so quickly, mutants are quite a threat. Then you've got the Chaos Torment, who has 13 wounds and a 5-up save. They have Hideous Mutations, which are 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, 4/5 with Relentless and Rending. And then it has the Accursed Torment rule. You cannot do mission actions or pick up actions, and when you mutate, you just drop anything you're carrying. Light terrain and operatives with wounds of 11 or less do not provide cover, so kind of like the Nightmare Hulks. And each time you would lose a wound, you have a 5-up DPR. Really good. Really, really good operative. Balanced by being 13 wounds, but still having the same cover rules. But once again, the way this operative works is this: you charge in with support, because you charge in, hitting on 3s, retain 1 dice, and then fight with Relentless. But really great. You just throw these guys into Marines and laugh. They shred so much and they can be so damage efficient. Just terrifying. You can only have 3, but the weird thing is you may have 5 during the course of the battle, because remember, as long as you keep mutating mutants, you can have more torment. So it's crazy good. And then you get your equipment. So you get the Frag and Crack. You get a trophy weapon. So select a crude melee weapon or the pistol they're equipped with. You add 1 to both their damage characteristics. It's okay. You're never going to take that. Then you've got covert guys for 2 equipments that only is for devotees. At the end of the scouting state, if this is wholly within your drop zone, they can perform a free dash. So you could have 5 operatives just dash, which is really good. Then you've got the Chaos Sigil. This operative has a 5-up invuln, and this is not limited, so you can give 5 guys a 5-up invuln, which is funny if they mutate, because they'll still get that equipment. And then you've got Vile Blessing. So you can only take this once. It's 3 equipment points. Once per battle, in combat, you can ignore damage inflicted by a shooting or combat attack from 1 attack dice. This must be done before rolling to ignore lost wounds. So the funny thing is you can put this on someone you plan to mutate into a torment, but generally I put this on my leader because your leader is so important, leader or banner. And like if they're in the middle of the board, they become really hard to kill, especially if they're the banner. But I like putting on the leader and then having the banner nearby. So it's just really hard to kill your leader. But generally you're doing a mix of Vile Blessing and then covert guys with like frag and crack. But really good equipment overall. And obviously you get all your narrative rules as well that you'd get in your standard kill team box for using like these in tournament and narrative play. So overall, I once again really like this kill team. I really like the Ashes of Faith kill team. Games Workshop and like the design team have done a really good job on this. Like it seems really well tested, really well balanced, and I like this kill team. It's one of the few end game kill teams we have where they get better as the game goes on. Because the funny thing, you start off with effectively 11 activations, but as it goes on, you get more and more activations because more and more chaos cultists turn into mutants and torments. So it's really interesting to play this kill team. And once again, you've got this cautious turning point 1, but then turning point 2, you surge. Like turning point 1, use your leader to turn someone into a mutant and make another mutant. Turning point 2, those 2 mutants become torments, and then use your leader to make another mutant. And then once you start charging your cultists in, you get even more mutants. So suddenly they just pop up all across the board. And if you've anchored yourself right in the middle of the board, just become this huge threat. The only thing you start doing is you start holding back who you mutate so you can still do mission actions and capture objectives. But overall, this kill team is really fun to play. Really well balanced, and you get so many models. It's funny, you have like no choice, but it's just, you technically have a lot. And playing against them is quite hard, only because of the mutants. I think if the mutants just had a 6-up DPR instead of a 5, so damage prevention roll, they'd be a lot better to face against, because I think you get so many mutants so quickly, and they have 4 attacks with Relentless, 3 forward rending. They're actually really tough. And remember, if you don't kill them, I've had situations where they've just had 1 wound because of that 5-up DPR, and then they've mutated into torments, which is depressing. But otherwise, they're really fun to play kill team. Like, they're just really, really fun and thematic, just like the Inquisitorial Agent kill team. And once again, it's a great departure from the Gallo full box. I love these kill teams. They're fun to play, they're balanced, but they're strong. It's really good. I really like these. And I think at the moment, obviously the Chaos Cult team has the edge. Like, they're amazing on Into the Dark. Oh my gosh, so good on Into the Dark. But I really like them on Open as well. They have a lot of tricks. They're kind of an honest kill team. It's just the pressure they can pump out from the demons they summon is a bit crazy. But I just really like it. So the only downside is you have to paint 23 models, and some of them are quite detailed, but it's fun. This kill team is so fun. I just love them so much. You're definitely going to see this kill team a lot. That's pretty much it from me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought. Do you agree, disagree? Do you like this kill team? Or, you know, what do you think about it? Are you terrified of it? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, as well as an affiliate link to Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. So I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my Adepts of the Crit, I have Tool Barden, Sam, Ninja Lee 83, Nicholas, Nick, Kenzie, John Thomas, Eric, Captain Murder, Dad of Godens, Average Joe 27, and Arthur. And then for my Veterans of the Crit, I have Sam Just. So thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me. Help support the channel out. But yeah, you know, I have to pay off so many kill teams. But remember, I've got the Inquisitor Agent and Ashes of Faith review, which you can check out on the channel. And I need to pay up a lot of kill teams. And I'll have a battle report of these guys up soon. So it should be quite fun. But remember, no matter how many chaos mutants and demons you may summon, there's always a chance to win as long as you roll a crit.